Hello, my name is Coco.
Hi, my name is Mossam.
I'm Anita.
And I'm Finn.
And we made the opening sequence to Frayed. Should we talk about how we researched it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what have we learned from research? Because we didn't really learn much in the beginning for the preliminary task about researching, did we? Because we didn't research at all.
No, we did absolutely no research for the preliminary task, whereas for the final product, we really went into detail and looked up pretty much everything, every aspect that we were going to do. We planned and researched from other films and anything else you want to add?
And from like titles to sound to camera, like narrative, characters, everything we researched about thrillers, so we knew it inside out, so we knew what we were going to plan.
So in terms of planning, we made sure that we did a storyboard. We made sure that we knew, like, timing-wise, how long the thing was going to be, and just like our planning time and stuff. And also we had to make sure that if we were going to choose a certain location, that we had it booked prior.
But, for the storyboards, we kind of learnt from the preliminary task that we really, really needed to make a storyboard that we stuck to.
Because we didn't actually go on to what we planned, we didn't stick to it at all.
Because we didn't have the location plan prior to actually doing it. Yeah. So we didn't storyboard exactly the positioning of the person in the shot.
Or the timing.
So
everything fitted together. Whereas in the final product, we made a storyboard, but we also added in. We stuck to the storyboard, but then we added in shots which weren't on the storyboard, but it was kind of compromising everybody's
ideas.
Yeah, so that nobody missed anything out which they wanted, because otherwise an argument would start.
Yes, I agree.
So overall, storyboarding went well, I'd
say. For the final product.
For the final product, definitely.
Final product, right.
What about timing?
Yeah.
Well, timing, again, you would say was much, much better for the final product, because for the preliminary task, we didn't plan any of it. It was all just, we were given a short window of time to do it, and there was no real idea or sense of what we were doing until the actual day, because we didn't stick to our storyboard like we said. So for the final product, we definitely went... We just did everything how it should have been done. Everything was planned out, and we knew what we were doing at what times to fit the deadline and to give ourselves enough space to go over what we've done.
Do you think we've learnt any skills from since the prelim task? I think a big skill we've learnt would probably be moving from iMovie to Premiere Pro, because that was a massive jump in.
Yeah,
definitely.
iMovie is quite a simple thing to use, and
Premiere Pro,
as much as it's easy, it's just quite simple. And in Premiere Pro, you can go into much more depth. But we had to begin Premiere Pro from the beginning because we hadn't used it yet, so we had to learn everything about it.
Yes.
In terms of sound editing and everything to do with it.
Also, we improved on our tangible skills such as time management.
Definitely.
And personal timing as well. So we made sure, and also leadership. So we made sure everything was taking place on time in order to finish our final product, because it was very strict deadline.
And Mossam, what would you say about the sound? Because obviously you had a big part in that, so what would you have said for that?
In terms of sound, it was a big jump, because in preliminary task, we didn't actually manage to put any music, or there was no adding music and everything. I had to go over for the final product. I had to learn how to use GarageBand and how to make music on it, so it can match my final film or the product I made.
The final product, yeah.
As well as
going back to time management. Sorry, I just remembered. The characters. It was really difficult, trying to manage your time around the actors
schedules
themselves. Yeah,
because in the preliminary task we were the actors, because it was our first thing we'd done just to show off our skills. But then with the final product, we had to revolve the time around the actors, which was really a struggle. So if we were to do this again, I think we'd have to plan properly to do with time management and characters.
Yes, I agree.
Also, like, we managed to stick to the rules of 180 degrees, which
Yeah.
we struggled in preliminary tasks because we messed up a lot in preliminary tasks.
We found it confusing.
Yeah, we made sure that our short reverse shots are perfect and 180-degree rules is followed throughout.
You know mise en scène?
Yeah.
What can
What things can we do better next time? Because I feel like we should have focused on it more. Because we had props and we did in terms of like the ribbon and the jacket.
Costume.
Sorry. But I think we should have focused on it more because I think some of the shots you could tell there's some differences because we did it on different days or something. So I think we should have focused on it more.
But the
in terms of
tutorial
it.
codes were fine, like his
Yeah.
outfit. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, I mean, setting, location was fine, but
Fine,
the
yeah.
tutorial codes we could have worked on to make his character more like.
Believable
Yeah.
in like who he was as a character, as in like his age and like his class and stuff like that.
And could have used like more props to show who he really is in terms of like introducing the character
Mhm.
and setting the narrative.
And
But choosing locations was easy, I would say. Do you think? Do you
Do
agree?
you? Yes, I do. I agree. In terms of skills, do you think we worked as a team cooperatively, and
I would say that we
work
did.
together?
I would say that we did because we, I think Coco might have mentioned it earlier when we said about compromising on shots. So if we all had a different idea for how it should look, we basically just filmed both of them and then or however many there were and went back to it when we edited it to see basically which looked better. And I think that made us work better as a team because there wasn't really many arguments over shots or differences of
yeah, we made
opinion.
sure that we agreed with it. If like
Definitely.
we didn't agree with it,
Yeah.
We also like split the work among ourselves. What do you say? Because we took turns in when to edit, when to do the sound, and yeah, we just took in turns. So not one person is like pressured by everything. So we did quite good team management there.
And also, with animation, I've never used an animation system before.
No, none of us had.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
no.
I've used like ones like
Not on the
With
same
logo,
class
like-
as
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
Effects.
Yeah.
though.
yeah, like not good ones, like proper ones.
Yeah.
So when we used After Effects, it was
It was difficult at first because
So
we had to watch a YouTube video basically
Yeah.
and go step by step through it all and try and recreate that for what we
On
wanted
After
to do.
Effects.
So that was definitely a skill that we learned through it. And
we learned how to get fonts from the internet and like
download them.
download them and put them into Premiere Pro and then type, and that was quite difficult getting to grips with because it was kind of hard. But
Yeah.
we got over that, and now we've learnt that skill.
We were able to do that everything what we did because of our good research, because we spent a lot
Mhm.
of time in researching about how to import the fonts and how a thriller mainstream movie would look like.
Yeah,
But
again,
especially
so-
researching like real media examples like films. We watched so many thrillers, so we got really
Had lots of
Yeah.
ideas
For
about
example, like Shutter Island, Lucy.
it, etc.
yeah,
So yeah.
many.
But overall, I think we learned lots of skills like such as directing or editing, and definitely time management. We said a lot about that, but we sort of, although we planned it all as we went along, we also learned a lot more, especially with camera and learning to zoom and learning to pan shots more effectively, not looking unstable and all of that stuff. So I think we definitely did a good job of learning all of those things.
So technical skills, would you say the camera we used was much better this time? Because
Yeah,
it was
much
more
better.
focused.
It was in
Much-
focus,
yeah.
which was a good start, whereas in the prelim it wasn't. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we made a big jump, and that was
We
good. Really.
We definitely had to come to terms with like learning how to use the camera for the twisting thing.
properly.
To
Yeah,
zoom
Yeah,
the
to zoom
zoom
in.
Before that,
the
we-
focusing.
Yeah.
And
And
make
make
it look smooth.
Yeah. Make
And-
sure that we knew what all the buttons were and
and shot reverse shot
Yeah.
we struggled with in the preliminary task, and now
Yeah.
we completely understand it. Like
Yeah.
the 180
Yeah.
degree
Mhm.
rule, everything is
Completely agree.
on track.
yes.
So overall, we made a big leap, which
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we could all improve
That was
on
like
again
great
for the next
success.
time.
And
yeah.
now we can use these skills next year.
Indeed, definitely.
Right.